Good morning, NC4XL, North Carolina for extreme lovers. And you see the setting, literally. This video is for, hey, guess what? Parks on the Air newbies. First time activator. Going to go out and see what we can do. Please do not be insulted. Your integrity is not on the line here. We're sharing some things that may happen that you didn't plan on, and it's okay. First things first, if you should go out and try to activate and you don't get enough of the numbers, it's all right. You have a learning experience, period. This is what we do. Those contacts that you make, yes, upload them. If you make 6, upload them, because the people you worked deserve to get that contact. And the learning experience that you achieve by it is priceless. So let's say you're headed out, you've got the park all picked out. Haven't been there before, but you're headed there. And you got, let's see, what antennas will we choose today? We're going to do a real simple one. You got your ham sticks. You got your 20 and 40 ham sticks. You're ready to rock and roll. Oh, it's all dark 30 in the morning, as you see, and this can pertain to the midday or afternoon, so keep those thought processes working. And you get there. And after about an hour's drive, it's 7 a.m. Not a bad time. UTC time is good. You go in and you reach for your ham stick and you go to put it on and find out that you didn't bring the 20 and 40, but you brought the 15. No biggie. You just got to improvise. Before we get started, if you're at a park and you have internet access, how valuable is it? 2 things. It really frustrates me when I go out and I don't have internet because I'm expecting to get spotted. But when you spin the dial one time and somebody lands on you and they're a POTA hunter, they can spot you and you're good to go and you rock and roll. You just can never go see if you've been spotted ever since. But if you have internet, you can start your activation with this. Start your activation with this. Don't get overly excited that you're going to pee your pants and you want to get in there in your pileups. Go work your park to parks if you can. Take a lot of your stress off. Get your 10 contacts if you can, and if you can't, it's okay. But here's where I'm going. When you're looking at the spotting page, look at all the bands. See where activity is at the time where you're at in your location, because I'm talking about the East Coast, okay? The West Coast, it don't open up at 1300 UTC. Those people are still dreaming about getting up and having coffee. And 40 meters on the West Coast at 1300 UTC, more than likely it's not going to happen very well. But 40 meters on the East Coast, and you'll have the Breakfast Club. Propagation is your biggest challenge when you're out. Okay? Pick the band activity that you see if you can. If you can. If not, then just go play. Suggestion, do not be so dependent on the old standby 20 and 40 meters bands. Yes, those bands are super heavily activated. People every half a KC from each other. And that's not on a weekend. So consider the time of day that you're starting and the band you're going to start on. And remember, propagation's your friend. So here's a couple suggestions. The suggestions I'm giving you are for the East Coast. Take and modify these suggestions on your particular Midwest or West Coast or internationally. Look at gray line map to get an idea where the sunrise is, where the gray line is, and where the opportunities are. But on the East Coast, if I start on 40 meters, I can even start on 75 meters at, we'll call it 0600 East Coast time and have some activity. 75 meters has been noted to have a bunch of grumpy old people. So sometimes it can be fun. Look at your location, and if you have ham sticks and you only got two, and most people, that's what they do. Forgive me for being arrogant about this. They only buy 20 and 40. Well, we have a lot of other bands. And the statement is, I never hear nothing. Well, you got to make some noise so people can hear you and talk back to you. 17 meters is doing great. 15 meters for 2 years was light. Now 15 meters is cooking. Okay? I didn't go to 15 meters because I didn't see anything there. Well, again, if you don't go there and make some noise, the opportunity for you to hear something back is not going to be good. Choice of antenna. If you have a place where you can put an infant up, that is my choice for me. If you have a spider beam pole and you can elevate it, or you have a Eagle One that you can elevate it, use a tuner, whatever antenna that you have, and the means of going to multiple bands can create more opportunities. Again, learning the area and what time of day to be on what bands comes from practice. Looking at the spotting page, seeing where people are at. As a hunter, you go and you'll hit the spotting page. I set it up by frequency, and I start going down and working every one I can, listening for them and seeing what the band propagation is. Surprisingly, 10 meters has been doing real well too. See something that I don't think I can hit, but I go to it and I can barely hear them, but enough to make a good legitimate contact, and I work them. The reason I didn't hear them very well is they didn't note that they were QRP. I didn't know they were QRP, and my QRO station did a home run. They heard me no problem. So don't prejudge when you look at the spotting page. Now let's talk about one other thing. You get there, you got your radio, you got your mic, you got your key. You ain't got the power cord. What happened? Check your inventory before going out. Check your inventory before driving an hour or 2 hours. Get ready to chuckle. There's people that went out on an activation, drove 2 hours and forgot the radio. Me, I got the radio sitting on the front seat. I'm listening to it, but not everybody's like that. Make sure that you have a backup of a backup. Let's talk about, do you have an extra power cord to it? Do you have an extra battery just in case? I run two 15 amp hour batteries. Don't do it like I do. If you're running QRP and you want a 6 or 8 amp hour battery, have an extra 6 or 8 amp hour battery, because if you get busy, boop, yeah, that pileup will clean up a battery in a heartbeat and you wouldn't realize it. Those are things that you don't know because you're new. It's fun. It's exciting. But don't let it frustrate you. Remember, you are going out there to have fun, to learn more about the park or parks where you're at, to experience the bugs, the cold weather, the wet weather, the nosy sad ham Karens that walk by. Are you chasing fish? What are you using a fishing pole out here for? There's no water. I get a lot of comments when I elevate my antenna up in the tree using a fishing pole. But it's fun. Propagation's your best friend. Your equipment, do a checklist. I'm repeating myself because it's necessary. You'll chuckle later in life when you have made a couple more activations and you realize that he was right. I don't want to be right. I just don't want you to be out there in the middle of nowhere and wish that you had a little bit more. For those of you that take a laptop or device and you put it on your logging there, if you've ever listened to people that are logging on a device, you'll hear a delay because they're not catching the full call, so they're taking a part of call like what I do, but they're trying to type it in, and then they realize they made a mistake, and then they have to back it up, and that's where you as an activator, you get frustrated. I'm not telling you to use a paper log, but if you have a device and you want to try to make it easier, very simple. Take a paper log right with you and write down the partials, and then tell the person to station with Alpha Charlie X-ray. When that person with Alpha Charlie X-ray starts, type it in your computer or device, whatever, then, and see if it gets it. I learned names by logging at home and getting to know people, but I've had a few activations to teach me that. But you guys and gals that are brand new, it's overwhelming when you get 25 people, all 5'9", all on the same frequency, all over the world, and you got to pick one out. That old story, the strongest always wins. Well, depending on your style dictates how you're going to do it. If you're trying to type it in on a laptop, you're frustrated before you get started. Suggestion only. Take a paper and pencil and take some short notes of what you got, then go back and ask for those partial calls, type it in. Otherwise, do it like I do. Log on paper, go home and put it in the system. That's up to you. But have backup paper and pencil with you, because if you're running a device, the device gets hot, the sun beats on it, the batteries die, it gets wet, you spill coffee, there's too many variables that are going to happen. It's just when. Be prepared. I always carry an extra notebook and extra pens in the car. Okay. For myself, I used to get out and do ham sticks. Now I went and spent a lot of daggone money on an ATOS antenna because I can sit in the car and go multiple bands. And I use it with the FT891. That's what I bought it for. It's not for every radio. It's for specific radios. So look at that. If you have a screwdriver type antenna, one that you can utilize, super, you can work out of the car or the RV or whatever. Your first activation starts with you, ends with you, but requires all of us to be a part of it. Do not let yourself get over frustrated. Here's another little secret. Turn your power down. Go to 5 watts. Turn your power down. Those that can hear you will work you. Again, if you don't want to work a pile up, very simple. Turn QRO and work park to park. But remember, each contact that you make is a park to park. Please, please, please upload your log. I'll stress that. I just went over 4,000 contacts. The 4,000th person happened to be a DX station. No, the 4,000th contact that got entered in the log was the 4,000th contact for me. There are some folks who have an issue with getting the log up in time. They're out on vacation, they're traveling, they do it once a month. Whatever the reasons, that's fine for them. They don't care that I'm looking for number 4,000 or 5,000 or 3,000 or 1,000. They don't care because they're having fun in their own way, and I have to respect that, and I ask you to do the same thing. Remember, this is a hobby, folks. Yes, it's the old dark 30. This is what time this operator and many activators get out on the road and start traveling to go to the parks that you, the hunter, are wanting to chase. You're appreciated. I tried to remember everything that was important because this is your first activation or your first outing, and you don't want to mess up anything. Make a checklist. Check it twice. Very simple. It sounds basic, but it could save some hurt feelings when you get somewhere and you don't have what you thought you did because you just assumed that it was there. And you know what happens when we assume things. And I don't want to go that way because that's not me, but it's happened to me. I run out of paper on a activation. I had to use some stuff from McDonald's. Thank God I go to McDonald's a lot to write on. Okay. And I had to use a magic marker. Yes, boy, there's nothing worse than using a big blunt type magic marker. But you do what you have to do to get the job done. NC4XL. North Carolina for extreme lovers. Oh, I'm not. I'm just an old man having fun. 73s, enjoy your activations. If you like this, share it with somebody who's new like you and see if maybe you can prevent them from going out and that they'll understand about its propagation that you're dealing with. You can't control it. You only get to play with it. 73s.